away.
We're wanted men. I have spoken.
It's so weird, man. We hung out last night. We had some beers, I had beers, and we each had a cigar. Jason was drinking what? How much? Jay, was it Jack Daniels you were drinking?
It's kind of like Jack Daniels, but it's cheaper.
That's why you had so. That's why you had so much.
But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
Hanging out.
yeah. So it's kind of weird because we just saw each other last night, and it's like, how do you start? Where do you go?
Right.
You know,
Now it's more formulaic again.
right.
But yeah, it was good to hang out, and the weather's getting cool again, so it's more, I don't know, it's just easier to hang out by a fire, because in the summer you can't really do a fire pit.
Yeah,
You get buggy and sweaty and humid, and
dealing with mosquitoes and
Yep.
all that crap.
yeah, but it's good. The weather's starting to change, I guess.
Yeah, which is nice. Which I need to get my fire pit out too. But I like hanging out on my back deck better than a fire pit. It's more
Yeah, you
comfortable.
have a really nice back deck.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about bugs.
Exactly. So how you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Yeah, can't complain.
Awesome.
Got any pickups this week?
I did all right. Yeah, the small thing I picked up was the unproduced Chewy from the micro collection. I picked one up. Somebody had a lot on Deal or No Deal, and I've learned to start looking at those lots. And he had a unproduced Chewy sitting in one, and tried making a deal on the whole lot. And then I said, "What do you want?" And he refused. And then I asked him what he wanted on the Chewy, and he goes, "I figured that's the one you wanted." So he sent me. So I got that from him.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
How many of
Yeah.
those do you have now?
I've got two. I've got the Chewy and the B. Is it the B1? Not the FX. The other medical droid. The B21, B12.
The medical droid?
Yeah, the one that has the
Okay.
microphone on her face.
Yep.
I've got that one. So I should have looked and see how many they had, but I don't know. I don't even know how many they have. But it's a fun road to go down.
Yeah, it's another rabbit hole.
Right. And also picked up a original Christian piece from him at Dragon Con. My wife he did an Ewok a couple of years ago, and my wife had been eyeballing it for like the last year, and she finally just said F it, and we made a deal on it.
Nice.
So I've been following him for like 10 years, which is crazy to think about, but it's a cool piece. It's a cool moment picking that up from him.
How much has he grown in the past 10 years?
You mean as far as art and stuff?
Popularity? Yeah.
I think he's grown pretty decent. He's definitely one of the better known Star Wars artists. At one time, I think he was like the number one Star Wars artist out there, because he had a lot of his stuff got licensed, especially that one Boba Fett with the Han Solo in the carbonite.
Yeah.
That got put on a whole bunch of stuff. It got put on boxers and coasters and Easter baskets. I got a window shade with it on it.
I had a cell phone cover with it on it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was licensed or not. But
I don't know if the cell phone covers were licensed or not. I know there was a lot of stuff that was bootleg, but so he did pretty good with that. And then he just has come back with Lucasfilm in the last couple of years. So, but yeah, he had a pretty cool booth. It had all his, I've never seen so many of his originals in one place. So that was cool seeing all those. And he's got got a bunch of Boba Fett stuff, and he's got a dad bod Fett with the Bib Fortuna staring at him in the reflection. That one looks cool. It's just, I love his work, man. I don't know if I've told the story. I don't tell it enough, but I'd just gone through like my second divorce, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and basically find myself again. And I just found Star Wars. You're like, what makes you happy? And you realize Star Wars. So you start getting back into that. And then I found his art. I found that Boba Fett with the Han and Carbonite, and it just sort of reignited everything for me. So I hold his art right up there with Star Wars, as far as, what makes me happy and what makes, they dug me out of what could have been a really dark place.
Right. And they're sort of intertwined for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can tell when you get to my house that I've got his crap everywhere.
It's not crap. It's good stuff. But
I mean crap lovingly.
Yeah. You're a passionate fan for him
I
too.
Really am.
Yeah.
There's so what
nothing wrong with that.
No. I'm trying to think, what else did I pick up? My wife got me a couple of shirts. I don't know. It's been a kind of a cluster. At Dragon Con, we picked up a bunch of art just from different people.
We'll talk about Dragon Con.
Yeah, Dragon Con was weird this year because we went on Monday. I've never been on a Monday. I normally go on like Saturday or Sunday. And they were limiting everybody to, I think, like 50% capacity, which was amazing for Dragon Con, because you were able to actually, look at the booths. Normally you're in the dealer room and you're in a sea of people and you don't have a chance to stop and look at booths. And you're like, I've seen this crap before. And you just kind of move on. Where this year you were able to really stop and look at the booths, and you didn't have people banging on you. And you still had, when it got later in the day, it started to get busier. But, we were there 9 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and normally it's full of people, and there was nobody, barely anybody on the streets. So it was a weird decon this year. But then I realized why I only go to Dragon Con like every 2 to 3 years. It's in the same vein as Renfest for me, because it's not a collecting con. It's if you want to go, it's more for cosplayers and stuff. So that's not what I want. That's not what I do. So I enjoy it, but it's not my cup of tea, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there's not a whole lot of, I think I saw maybe 3 or 4 pieces of vintage Star Wars, and it was old beat up stuff.
Yeah.
But we picked up a lot of art. The artist gallery was fun. I mean, just to tell you how uncrowded it was, we did the first one floor in like 20 minutes of the artist alley, and normally, or not the artist alley, but the artist mart. And normally that takes us like an hour and a half.
Wow.
So it was nice. And
So
then,
desolate.
huh?
So it's desolate.
Yes, it was. It really was. But we picked up, the thing is you go to these artists and you start looking at their stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, I like this piece and that piece. And then they hit you with it's 3 for $25, or they hit you with the deal. And as soon as they hit you with that deal, you're like, crap, I got to buy all of it. Just because you're like, oh, $25 for 3 pieces of art. So you throw that down, and then you end up walking away with like 20 pieces of art, and then you end up spending hundreds of dollars in frames. But there was a guy that I like, that I've been following on Instagram, called Hero 5, that was there. And he had a like a $10 bin, and we picked up some stuff from him. And it was just, that was cool, because it's somebody I've been following for a couple of years, really digging his art. And, we're able to talk to him and be like, hey, I'm Glen. And, oh yeah, I've seen you come through PayPal or whatever, seen your name pop up a few times. So, that was cool. And then there was another artist that I like, that we go to a show, Heroes Con in Charlotte, a lot. And it felt like there was a lot of artists that had been to Heroes Con that were up there this week. So, there was also a lot of, let me look at what you've got and see if I've got enough of your stuff. Did you put anything new out that I hadn't seen in 2 years? So there was a lot of that too. But, I enjoyed it. It just, I don't know. I'd rather go to a toy show than go to Dragon Con.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah, I have no knowledge of what Dragon Con is. I haven't been yet. And last year was COVID. The year before that, it just couldn't get to it. So it doesn't sound like it's something I'd probably want to do, because it's not a toy show. I'm looking for the toys. I'm not looking for. I mean, look at the wall behind me. I have no room for art. So
I mean, I do have good memories of Dragon Con because I met Jillian Anderson, which is right there.
That'd be
So,
worth it.
Yeah, it was worth it. If there's people there that you want to meet, I mean, we didn't even go to the artist, what they call the Walk of Fame. We forgot about it because normally you'll go and at least see who's there. And by about 2:00, Mandy was like, I'm done. I'm ready to go. And so we went pick up our art from Christian and then left. And then you're halfway home going, crap, we missed Walk of Fame. We didn't see who was there. And, I met Peter Mayhew there last couple, well, because we went, I think 6 years ago, we went whenever Force Awakens came out, we went, and Peter Mayhew was there, and that was a cool experience. So, I mean, if there's people there you want to meet, it's worth it. But, other than that, I'd stay away.
Mm.
But if you like partying and drinking 24 hours a day for 3 or 4 days, go for it.
Yeah. No, not my cup of tea.
No. What did you pick up?
Yeah, I got tons of stuff because it's been a couple weeks since we've had a normal episode. So I picked up, Hasbro sent the Power of the Force Luke Skywalker 6-inch, which is pretty cool. It would have been nice if they did like a short saber and a long tray kind of thing, but it's just like a straight repack, so it looks good.
They'd have to think too much, dude.
What?
They'd have to think too much if they did something like that.
Yeah, they have to take care in consideration. Walmart did send me a bunch of their exclusives, but oh my gosh. So one came in a bubble envelope, one came in a box that was too small for the figure, and then one came in an oversized box with no padding in it.
So you had what, 3 figures sent?
3 figures, each different. My Death Star droid has a crease in the corner, and it's got a smashed bubble because this is the one that was in the bubble mailer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a padded envelope, basically. The Tusken Raider was shoved into a box, and I at first thought, oh, it's not too bad, but there is a crease in the upper corner where the 50th anniversary for Lucasfilm, that logo is. And then some of the bubble is crushed. So now I got to figure out if I can get replacements for that, because I'd prefer to have them in generally good condition.
All right.
Hasbro, no, and then I also got my Luke Skywalker, which is decent. This is the version where he's on Endor, in his poncho and stuff, but there is a crease at the top. So, I mean, their shipping just sucks. And then finally Hasbro Pulse sent my Scout Trooper vintage collection, and it's in decent shape. There is a crease down the middle where Star Wars is. So that's eating at me because I prefer to have them in generally good condition.
All right. Yeah, I was thinking of everybody that has had, because it seems like everybody's having issues with these things.
Yeah.
And we do UPS at work, but it's coffee. So, when you're loading coffee, you don't give a crap how you load it, or if you damage a box, or, if you got to put a, small box, you try to put as much crap as you can in a box. And, thinking about these guys, if I have the same mindset that these people have loading that stuff in, I totally get why stuff's getting messed up.
They don't care.
They don't care. They don't care that, a collector wants this. They don't, to them, it's just an item. It's not a collecting piece.
I also picked up, I'm not done yet. So for the vintage collection back in, what year was this? When I first started at San Diego Comic-Con, Hasbro passed out what they called proofs, but they were just like a promotional piece. They look like actual card backs for the vintage collection that they were just launching. So there's no figure on it. It's just basically the card back. It's not really a proof. It's promotional material, but it is some of the earlier promotional material for the vintage collection. So I picked up Clone Commander Cody and Anakin Skywalker, and they've got that chrome effect around the racetrack.
Mm.
So they look nice and clean. And then I also picked up the same for Obi-Wan and General Grievous, but these two are unpunched. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. Did they come with those cases?
Nope. I got in touch with your buddy Ian, and he had these to me like the next day. He said he was going to ship them on like Monday, and they arrived Tuesday.
Wow. That's why I love me some Ian.
Fast, great quality, great product. I can't complain about the experience I just had with Ian.
Awesome.
That was incredible.
I know you picked up some more stuff.
Yeah, I picked up Micro Machines. I picked up, and I'll save the story for a couple of weeks, but I picked up prototype micro machines, Rebel pilots. There was a set that came with like 8 different Rebel pilots in a pose. The same thing with TIE fighter pilots, but I picked up 4 prototypes of those Rebel pilots, X-wing pilots, and then 2 of the TIE fighter pilots.
Nice.
So I have 6 new prototypes there. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, gotta love the prototype micro machines. Do you I know we talked about this last night, but I think you're ahead of the curve on this, man. And I don't think you're helping yourself with the podcast saying I'm buying all this micro machine stuff.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll talk about that later too. Yeah,
Let me buy it all first.
Yeah, it's that 20-year rule where 20 years later people have the kids that played with this stuff suddenly have extra funds, and then they buy the more rare items like the pre-production and prototypes and hard copies and things like that. So that might be the next big thing.
Right. And I don't know how far you want to get into it, but yeah, no, I agree with that. And it's like, I think people, they start looking for stuff to collect, and, you know, the vintage stuff is already, it's in black holes. You know, you're not going to find it. And if you do find it, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, not hundreds, but tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
And so you start looking, and then, you know, and it just, you kind of just work your way down, and then you go to, okay, nobody's touched micro machines yet. And that's where people are going to end up going, or, you know, as he's going, no,
don't do that. They stink. They're flushable.
Yes.
No,
kids can choke on them.
Yeah. If that pops, then it pops, and there's nothing I can do about it. But I don't think we influence the community any much with our little podcast here. Sometimes it feels like we're just shouting into a tin can.
Right. Yelling at clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's why I do the Galactic Heroes stuff, because it's not that many people collect it, and you can still find it at a decent price, but they're starting to creep up, especially the bigger pieces. They're starting to creep. You know, you used to be able to pick them up for $20. Now they're starting to hit 100. So I may not be picking those up that much anymore.
Well, look what you got behind you.
Oh, what? Huh? What?
Look what you have behind you. That's pretty special right there.
Yeah, I can't complain.
But
it's like, why don't I go to Celebration? That
right there. What
There's
more
your answer.
Yeah, that's your answer.
Anything else?
Yeah, Hasbro had a live stream.
Yay!
I'm not gonna complain. You can listen to any number of our episodes. It's the same complaint, just on repeat. But they did release 16 figures, and by my calculation, 2 of them are brand new.
That's just pathetic, Hasbro. Come on.
Yeah. So I didn't order the carbonized stuff. Well, the carbonized stuff doesn't come out until October 7th. So there's time if I want to pick up that Shore Trooper. But the carbonized stuff for the Black Series, or the Credit Collection, not carbonized, excuse me. I'm out. I'm not doing that anymore. I mean, the Mandalorian looks like he's Jango Fett.
Right.
And it works because it's all inspired by pre-production art. And they use that pre-production art to colorize the action figure. The Mandalorian looks like Jango Fett with the blue stripe down the middle. It just doesn't, for me, it doesn't work on its own. It should be, I mean, it's more of an artistic piece, and it works with the piece of art, but alone as a single figure, it just doesn't, I don't know. I'm out.
Right.
I'm only into the new stuff.
Oh, I think I deleted the email from Hasbro. I was trying to find the email I had from it, but it's not there, because they'll send us an email with all the pictures on it. And I wanted to see that Credit Collection Mando again. But
yeah, there's let's see, I'll run down this list real quick. There's the new prototype Retro Collection Stormtrooper, which was surprisingly easy to pre-order.
Well,
at Target.
It doesn't look I think that doesn't look as good as the other ones, because the head and the body torso is one piece. So
right.
You lose sort of that aesthetic.
Yeah. Black Series Gaming Greats Jet Trooper,
which is a repaint, right?
It's a repaint, but it's a retool. I give them a little bit more slack with the clones and the troopers, because there's the new paint applications give them the ability to make it new and feel fresh, and that's just part of in-universe. You know, it's different than slapping some sort of metallic paint on it and saying, here's something new with the carbonized stuff.
Right. Oh, I finally found that email. Yeah, it's a total Jango Fett ripoff, dude.
Yeah, it looks weird.
But yeah, keep going, Jason.
Yeah, so there's the carbonized vintage collection armor, incinerator trooper, Moff Gideon, and the shore trooper. There's the Black Series credit collection, Mandalorian, Quill, Grief Karga, Moff Gideon, and the armorer. There's the Black Series Mandalorian season 1, episode 2, covered in mud.
Yeah. If
That's
I
a
want that, I can take that in my backyard. I can bring him in my backyard, cover him in mud. I mean,
Yeah.
did they retool? They did retool Grogu.
Grogu has a different face. He's got the eyes closed, hand out, using the Force, which is cool. I don't see, again, that seems like a creative repack to me.
Right.
It's something from the show. It's not this weird metallicized, however you want to call it, action figure. I don't know. They also have this new thing, the troop building assortment, which is kind of interesting because we were just talking about that a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've done this for their Marvel Legends. They've had a couple troopers, AIM Trooper, I think was one of them, and a Hydra Trooper maybe. And so now they're doing that with the vintage collection. It is going to be in a shipper box, which is interesting because it's shipping. I know what I'm saying. I just don't know how to say it. It's a packaged action figure without plastic. So
Gotcha.
This is the new kind of trend. I don't want to say trend, but is the new way forward for packaging this stuff and using less plastic.
Right.
So I would imagine they're baggied, but
it's a cool looking package. It's sort of have the, hey, we're a band of stormtroopers or whatever. And it does have the one with the shoulder piece.
Yeah, the shoulder pauldron. The vintage collection Emperor, who's coming with that convention exclusive backdrop. He's coming to the vintage collection on his own card, and it's got a different head sculpt than the deluxe edition. So I appreciate that kind of difference there. So there is some newness. And then as far as what they've announced, it's brand new, Lobot and Bib Fortuna for the vintage collection.
Right. Why would what's throwing me is I'm looking at all this stuff, and then they have the Ewok, they have Tebow, but Tebow's been out for a month or two, hasn't he?
So so Tebow, what they were just saying is that this is the wave. That's the wave that they're going to be shipping. So you could buy the whole wave if you wanted to.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then for the archive collection, they did announce that Palpatine, Lando Skiffguard, C-3PO, and Dengar are coming to that archive wave, which, again, don't need the archive wave. Just throw it in the regular line now. We don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
Then,
I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I'm looking, and I see Lando caught my eye. I did like the fact that the inside of his cape they look like they've spent some time on it and put a print on the inside of his cape. So that's kind of cool.
Vintage collection version?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just a repack, right? Or is that new?
I don't think so. I think that's new.
Okay.
As far as the vintage collection is concerned, they've done Landos before, General Lando, but they've never done that Bespin Lando, Cloud City Lando. And they're racing to complete that 96, which makes me concerned that they're going to be finished redoing the 96 original figures, and then they're just going to dip out and say no more vintage collection.
They might.
And then finally, there was some newness. There's the vintage collection Yoda that they teased, 501st Clone Trooper, which has climbed in cost. So that's not surprising that they're going to release that again. The Death Watch Mandalorian Airborne Trooper, which is from that scene when the Mandalorian was just a kid and was rescued by the Mandalorians. You saw them all like flying in on that planet to rescue him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cool one, Figure and Dan. From he's getting his own card. And I'm like, that's what I want. I want those kind of creatures and aliens and stuff.
Well, you know, good on them because they don't have to retool it. They can just release one and you buy 6 of that one. And
That's true too. So yeah, will they package all the instruments with the one? Probably not.
no, but somebody will 3D print them or something.
Probably.
Somebody will make up instruments if they haven't already. And you miss Ray's lightsaber, dude.
Well, I didn't also say that. Yeah, well.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. I missed it. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
No, I wasn't going to cover it. So go ahead and say it.
Oh, they released Ray's lightsaber.
And it's the first time it says Ray Skywalker.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So,
Womp womp.
and
I'm
then
not huh?
Go ahead.
I'm just not a fan of that lightsaber because I don't know how the hell you're going to hold it. It doesn't look like it has a good handheld on it. I'm being a practical, as a practical person, I'm like, how you're going to hold it only with one hand? Because, there's not enough grip on it for two hands to me.
Huh.
But, it doesn't sing to me. It's just a weird design on a lightsaber, guys.
It is. I mean, it's just all right. Whatever. I'm not going to go down that road. Yeah. So that was released, and then the last piece was that the Razor Crest is going to be delayed till January of 2022.
Right.
Which is a bummer. Which gives me time to figure out where the hell I'm putting it in my room. And that's a bigger problem.
Right. And it gives me time to think if I'm going to buy one in the secondary market, because I know people that have bought a ton of them. So maybe I can pick one up for maybe $100 extra or something.
Yeah, pretty close. If you can get it when it first comes out and close to cost, I would say pick one up. They look pretty good.
I mean, if it's anything like the Slave One or whatever, I know Jordan was kind of complaining that the prices are getting insane for vehicles, but I mean, at least when you get $100 vehicle, you feel like you're getting, your money's out of it. The Slave One, I got my money out of, I think, but I mean,
that's the fire spray. Before you continue, that's the fire spray.
Fine. It'll always be the Slave One to me, Jason. Just like it'll always be a Mythosaur skull or Bantha skull. Sorry.
Skull. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and I don't know. I haven't seen the X-Wing, the $100 X-Wing to see how it looks. I mean, the TIE Fighter, the Black Series TIE Fighter, I thought was a little much, but the market, fixed itself because it sat for a minute and people were able to pick it up for cheap.
Yeah. I was just looking at it. Yeah, it's a pretty good vehicle. It's pretty impressive.
It is. I mean, the same thing with the snow speeder for $100.
Yeah.
It's a big ass snow speeder. Plus, I was able to pick it up with the Luke for $100, so I can't complain.
Right. I missed that deal.
Yeah. So what else is going on, Jason?
I got some Market Watch stuff, but I'm now hesitant about the vintage stuff, not vintage collection, vintage stuff, because as I learn more and more, like there was a mint on card, Han Solo 31 back that was graded AFA 75 for $447 that sold on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I know that there's like variations within those card backs, and some of those variations are worth more than others. So for example, it could have been a 31A, not a 31B or 31C. I don't even know if that's a thing with the 31 back, so please excuse my ignorance, but that does exist, and some of those are worth more than others. And so like I'm hesitant about reporting on some of these vintage pieces without knowing the full scope of how much, what it is and how much it's supposed to be. If that makes sense.
Right. I mean, you could still report on them and see what happens.
All right.
So,
It'll just give you a kind of a sense of what things are selling right now in the community.
Right.
A Black Series Rex 3.75 inch. It's the version that came out after the vintage collection, the boxed edition. It's a Walmart exclusive. That sold for about $45. So the cost of those are going up. A blue snaggletooth with decent paint application. He seems to be selling for about $300 on eBay right now.
Yeah. That's about what they're going for, which to me, I find is crazy.
But weren't they more at one point?
If you find a good one, I think I've seen them hit 350, 400. If you have one that's really, really clean,
I mean,
or if you get a bidding war,
$500.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I missed some stuff.
Maybe.
But yeah,
Same-
you know what? Yeah, now that you said, now that I think about it, I think I have seen them hit 5 if they're clean.
So maybe costs are coming down a little bit. I don't know.
Or people are just aggravated.
Maybe. There was a San Diego Comic-Con snaggletooth, blue snaggletooth that was like a jumbo figure that was selling for about $170 to kind of give you guys an idea of where that's selling. I think those were what, $75 when they first were sold.
Yeah,
from,
the Gentle Giant jumbo
yep.
figures. Yeah,
Yep.
I think that's what they were going for.
So do you have any of those?
I've just got the Snow Trooper, and I picked it up for like $60 at one of the first meetups,
Okay.
like 4 years ago. But I have it. I opened it, and it's in my collection. And then I found the box the other day while I was going through my garage, and the bubbles crushed, and
Oh.
I was like, "Damn, that sucks."
Those are cool. That's one line I wish I had gotten into. It's like too late now. Like it's gonna be too expensive to try to get into that line.
Right. The whole thing stinks if you miss something the first go round, and then you're trying to buy it. The late tax, as Jordan called it. It because you miss something, it's $50, and before you know it, it's 150. So you got to
Right.
pay more, and it sucks.
Yeah, your wallet starts to hurt.
Oh yeah.
And then finally, a first shot C3PO with removable limbs recently sold at Hake's auction for guess how much?
You told me last night, like
$23,000.
Jesus Christ.
I was hoping you would have forgotten.
I wasn't that drunk.
I wasn't either.
No, you were drunk.
Oh my God. Dude, I just had so much fun with you and Jordan. I didn't have to drive, and I didn't realize how much I drink.
Dude, I just kept looking over at you, and you kept pouring that
Yeah.
whiskey or whatever in your drink, and I was like, is that whiskey or tea? Because you sure are drinking a lot of it.
Well, some of it was just tea. I was going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I drank more than I should, so I'm going to be taking a break from drinking for a while.
Oh,
It's all right.
until
It's
next
okay.
weekend. Actually, it's
Yeah.
my sister-in-law's birthday today, so we're supposed to go out downtown Woodstock, hit a pizza place, hit Reformation tonight, and then there's a new arcade. It's called Blue Ghost in downtown that I think it's like $15 all you can play.
Yep.
So retro arcade. So I'm looking forward to that. I've been
Have you
wanting
been
to
to
go. Huh?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I've been wanting to go for a minute and just hadn't. Your weekends get blown up and you just never make it over there.
Have you been to that cigar bar right next to that Blue Arcade?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I've picked up a couple of things.
Yeah, they had a live when I was in there a couple weeks ago. They had a live jazz musician in there.
Nice.
A blues, rhythm and blues. It was pretty cool. I was just like, this is a nice kind of joint. But I walked out of that place smelling like I had been. I mean, I was in there for 5 minutes and I smelled like I've been sitting in smoke for an hour.
Yeah, that's the one thing that stinks about going into some of those places.
That's a pun. Stinks.
Stinks, but I'm bummed.
Dad jokes. Hashtag dad jokes. But that's all I got from my news and weekly reports and market watches. You are going to Cincinnati,
Yes,
the
I am.
toy show. What are you looking for up there?
Dude, I don't know. I just want to see stuff. I've been threatened that my credit card's going to be taken away from me, and my phone and my PayPal privileges. So yeah, I don't know how much money I'll have to spend, if any, when we go up there. But I want to see it. I've heard good things about the show. I've heard there's stuff that you're not going to see. People will bring stuff out specifically for that show. So I'm hoping I can see some cool prototypes. I want to see people that I hadn't seen in a couple of years. Friends that I've made over the pandemic.
Yeah.
That I know that I'm thinking is going to be there. And just get out. And I know some collectors, because it turns out to be a big party on that weekend, because I know collectors will open up their homes and sort of like a mini meetup that whole week, or a couple of days beforehand. So I love Cincinnati, man. It's a cool town. It's just full of history, man. And you don't realize it until, you get into collecting for a few years, and then you get up there and you realize the history that town's got. But yeah, I mean, dude, if I can find some more Bill and Ted stuff, that'd be awesome. I know there's some stuff floating around up there, but will it show up? I don't know. I missed the chance of buying another piece of prototype a few months ago when we were up there, and I wish I would have. But if I'd have known that was coming to me, I would have picked it up, just to have added more to it. But dude, I don't know. I want to see stuff. I want to, it's like I told the guy when people ask why you're up here, I'm like, I'm looking for that rocket firing Boba Fett in a $5 bin, and they're like, everybody is. So and you hear stories of the stuff still out there because somebody just found a prototype plush Wicket in the antique mall up there. He was walking through the antique mall and saw, a plush Wicket, and he was like, that looks weird. And then when he picked it up and looked at it, there was no eyes, there's no tag, and then you're starting to look, and you can feel like it's hand stitched in certain places. So he freaking found the prototype stuffed Wicket in an antique mall for like $30. So I mean, that's the kind of stuff I want to find. But if it's gonna have a bunch of collectors up there that weekend, it's gonna be I think it'll be hard. But it is fun because you're driving around Cincinnati, and every house you're like, is it got a dumpster? Are they doing a yard sale? Are they, what's going on? Because you just never know what you're gonna find up there. And
never know what you're gonna get.
No,
Life is like a Cincinnati toy show.
You gotta make you gotta make your way up there, man. It's just a cool town. I mean, I know you've been there, but you've been there for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I saw the mural and then I was out. But yeah, no, I want to hang there for a little bit. Maybe next year for the next Cincinnati toy show. It's just with my travels lately and going back to Syracuse in a couple of weeks. It's just not yet.
Yeah. Well, I got lucky.
What it is.
Yeah, I got lucky because I know there's enough people going that I'm able to tag along with some guys and split the cost. So that's basically the only reason I'm getting to go. If I didn't have people going, I couldn't go because I've spent a lot of money lately, which I can't go. I'm happy, but it just, people are like, well, where's your trip? You going on any trips this year? It's like, no, we've already spent our trip money. So.
Right. You're looking at my vacation.
Yeah, my vacation's sitting in the case behind me or sitting on my wall upstairs. But I can't complain because it's stuff that, it's been a really crazy year because, I didn't look for Bill and Ted hard copies, but I always wanted a hard copy. You want a hard copy, you want a mold, you want, you set goals for yourself, at least mentally, like, you with your micro collection, you're like, I want this, or I want that. I want pre-production stuff. I'd love to have a clay mold. I don't know if they do. I'm sure they've got to do a 2-up or a 4-up in the micro collection. I mean, in the action fleet or whatever.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure that out. It doesn't look like it. Like hard copies are just a little bit bigger than the actual production.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if they sculpt it just a little bit bigger and they shrink it down in the process.
Okay.
But I've never seen like a 4-up for the micro machines. And I just don't think that's the way they did it. But I could be wrong.
Do you think computers were used back?
Yeah, because that was still 94, 95.
Okay.
That was before computers.
Gotcha. Because I think nowadays it's all done by computers and 3D printing and stuff. So you're missing that that process. It's not as much hands-on, but
right.
And it's crazy to think that I've checked off major, last few years checked off some pretty major check marks on the check mark on the list.
And I have to say, it's been fun. I mean, for the longest time, we started this podcast a year ago, and this was your pipe dream to have those figures.
Right.
And now you have it. And so I'm just so happy for you. And it's been cool to watch your friends get all the things that they've been searching for, and, good people getting good things and not trying to resell it or being jerks about it,
Right.
So I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Well, I'm happy you got your micro machines.
Yeah. Like when I started a year ago, I never thought I would have this many.
Right.
So I feel very lucky. And I'm thinking about moving my desk that I'm sitting at right now upstairs and finding like a glass display to put right here. But it would have to be like a glass display where you can look both ways. So if I'm sitting on my couch, which is on the other side, it doesn't feel like there's a wall here and I can actually see the action figures behind me.
Cool.
But I'm thinking about doing something like that to just try to expand because I am running out of space here.
Right. Yeah, that's
And I can't build another room.
you gotta wait about 2-3 months, dude, because everybody's running out of cases right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not getting it anytime soon.
Yeah.
It would be nice to get it before the winter social, but that's just not happening.
Right. And then what would you do with all that hallway?
The hallway would stay. This would be for more of the so I have 2 of the Detolf cases next to my TV. One's with micro machines, the other one was with vintage stuff, and I would put all the vintage stuff in those and then move the micro machines over here.
Nice.
I think.
Okay.
We'll see. I also wanted to put lights around up here. I haven't done that yet. Just to make it look cool. Because it is dark back there. So
Are you wanting to do like lights in the ceiling or just rope
just
lights?
the rope lights that can change color. I thought that might be cool to put it around the pegs.
Yeah.
People can't really see me pointing.
Right. Well, this
from
one, let me do this. Let me show you this. And I know it sucks as a podcast, but mine does this. And then it also
So
does
let's
that.
describe it.
It's flashing.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
showing it. Yeah, the lights are flashing, and then it also does like a heartbeat.
So you have
Where
a
it'll-
glass display,
Yeah.
and in it you have rope light,
Yes,
and it's
That-
white or blue.
it's white. I got I think the bright white.
Is it just along the top or the top and sides?
The top, but along the top. I didn't do it along the sides.
And it's like a half case, so people know. And so you're touching some sort of control pad at your computer. You're nowhere near the display. You got a
Right.
remote.
Yeah, I didn't want one with the remote, but it also has the remote and it has a button on the display case. So,
So how long is that rope light, and how much did it cost?
I think it was under $20. I got it off Amazon, and I think it was like 7-8 feet
Okay.
because the case is 6 feet wide, 6 feet across, and then you figure it's got 2 feet, a foot on
Yeah.
each side.
Yeah.
So that makes it like 8 feet. And it was. I looked at a bunch of them, and this one was cool because you could put like spacers in between the ropes because it came apart, and you can adjust it or put spacers in it. And I just put it all together because I needed it filled what I needed it to fill, and it definitely it brought, the $20 was well worth it.
Yeah.
But then I also had to figure out how to run power through it. And I thought, you would come over and you were like, oh, run it through the ceiling. And then I talked to my father-in-law, and he was like, dude, you got an outlet? Just get one of those things that you put over cords so people don't trip on it, and do that. So it doesn't look as good, but
Yeah. Maybe
You know,
someday.
maybe someday. I don't know. My father-in-law's an electrician, and he didn't feel like screwing with it. So I was like,
Right.
okay, fine. It doesn't look bad. I put it like in the corner, so it's only got like a couple of feet, so you're not going to trip on it too bad.
Yeah. But I think I need like 100-foot rope light. I mean, just the distance from the bottom to the top has to be about 4 or 5 feet. So I think for the whole wall, I need about 100 feet of rope light.
Wow. That's
Maybe
gonna be a lot.
someday.
That'll be a lot of money, dude.
Yeah, maybe someday.
Maybe you can find it at IKEA too. I've seen the stuff at IKEA because I've got a case upstairs that I put the IKEA rope light in, and it wasn't bad. But I don't know why I didn't go back to IKEA. Probably because I don't know. Amazon's
it's-
just too damn easy.
Because it's IKEA.
Yeah.
And it's a black hole.
It really is.
You walk in, and the next thing you know, wait, I walked in at 8 a.m. and it's now 8 p.m. What happened?
Right. That's sort of like what happened Friday at work. We were looking at the clocks going, damn, it's 11. And then we did a cookout or whatever. And next thing you know, it's like 4 hours later and we did nothing.
Huh.
But,
There seems to be a trend with graded things that is starting to annoy me a little bit.
okay.
And this just might be me. I don't know. You tell me your thoughts, but it's when I see on Facebook, hey, just got this back from grading. It's a 90. How much? Like $400. You can buy it.
Mhm.
And it seems like they are grading it with the purpose of reselling it for more money than they could have gotten just selling the figure. Like, and that's annoying me.
That's what, dude,
I
that's,
know.
it's
I
the
get
part of grading. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but grading it to sell, like, I don't know. You're grading it to sell it to make profit off of other collectors. Maybe I'm too idealistic. Cut this shit out.
Dude, no, we could talk about this because I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I know a lot of people do it, and I don't know if I have issues with it per se. Because I got a friend that does Transformers, and he wants AFA stuff, I guess, so he doesn't have to because he's had some issues with AFA because Transformers, they do a lot of Q grading, which is qualified. So if it's open, they look and make sure everything's there, and they seal it up and grade it and they give it a Q grade. But like with Transformers, they have the weapons on those spruce on the trees, and if one missile's missing, they won't grade it. So he's had a lot of issues with that. So he prefers buying graded, and he'll pay, triple what it's worth just because it's graded, and grading to me, I enjoy getting some stuff graded. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from because you could definitely, and it goes both ways. It's crazy with grading because you can take like a $40 figure, and if it grades a 90, it's a $200-$300 figure.
Right.
But if it grades a 70, you barely make the money back from grading.
Right. I guess I don't mind grading. I don't mind buying grading items. It's just people like grading things to automatically flip it.
Right.
I don't know. It's just, I guess I'm seeing it more and more, and it's just starting to irritate me. Like, stop it. I don't know.
You're overthinking it, Jason.
That's the thing that I have.
Dude, I don't know. I know a lot of people that do it, and I think it is. You can take, because I've got a buddy. He just sent me. He had an AFA. He graded an A-wing for CAS, and he got like an 85 plus on it. So he's like, ding, ding, ding. Ching.
Yeah.
Which I can't blame him because a sealed A-wing's expensive to begin with, and then it grades an 85. So it great.
Well, now that you've mentioned that, like, I think more of the exclusive items, the more rare items, maybe your yak faces and snaggletooths and your A-wings and things like that, or a really good condition boxed item unopened. Like, I can see the appeal of grading that and flipping it, like, and that doesn't annoy me too much. I don't know. Maybe maybe I need to think about this more and I can come back. I don't know.
I don't know, dude. But then I have a piece that that graded a 90 or a 9 because it's a modern piece, and I've tried selling it for triple what I have in it, and nobody bid on it because it was a Mandalorian, and people are like, the carbonized Mandalorian, and they're like, you want to sell that for $200? I'm like, it's a 9. Come on. But nobody, so it's still sitting. Nobody wanted it, so it's still sitting in my collection, which maybe I'd be kicking myself if I did it, sold it. But
yeah, someday, maybe in 20 years, all this
maybe
stuff will be worth more.
No, I don't. That's another issue. How much is this stuff going to be worth in 20 years when, or 40 years when we kick the bucket? Will people still want this stuff, or are we just leaving crap to our kids that they won't know what the hell to do with?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I wish I had some sort of thoughtful answer to that. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like Power of the Force is going to go anywhere.
Dude, oh, you mean the original or
the original?
Yeah.
Like, that's going to stay about there. I can't see that suddenly climbing to like $400 for, well, what do I know? Because we mention it all the time, the $100 short saber long tray that was at Jolanta.
Right.
Joe Fest. Sorry.
Oh, you're talking about Power of the Force 2, all the stuff that came out in the 90s.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's a difference between Power of the Force and Power of the Force 2, isn't there?
Right. I think it's almost at that. Well, it is at that 20-year thing, but will people start collecting that because they can't afford the vintage stuff? Because you can go in for $5, buy a whole crap ton of it, $5 a pop. Is that the next thing? I don't know. I could see, huh?
No, go ahead.
I could see the Phantom Menace stuff doing that because you do have people, that are in that 20, 25 range, 30, 20 to 30 range that grew up with those films, and now they're getting a disposable income, and they're like, oh, now I want to rebuy all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know about Power of the Force 2 stuff yet.
Power of the Force 2 prototypes seem to be taking off.
And go ahead.
And maybe it's because vintage is out of control, not unless you're, a Bill Gates or some sort of tech giant with billions of dollars. Can you afford that kind of stuff for the vintage first shots and prototypes? And the next newest, oldest thing would be the Power of the Force 2. And that, probably at one point was $50 for a prototype, those things are starting to creep up a little bit more to $100.
Yeah. And
So maybe
then
that's the thing.
right. And then it's like I said earlier, it's, people are looking at it going, okay, vintagers, what the 3PO sold for $23,000. Who the hell is going to spend $23,000 on a figure? So, and then you just start going down the list and you're like, all right, I can, I've seen the first shot. Well, you're at, if you want a Slave One sealed, you're at $1,000. I have no clue what the prototype goes for, but I've also seen $1,000 on a prototype Power of the Force Slave One, which is the same damn thing. It just may be worded different, or the copyright's different because it'll say 1990 versus 77.
Yeah,
because that's why all they did was remold everything for the Power of the Force stuff. The Power of the Force 2 as far as the vehicles go. So I mean, yeah, dude, I could totally see that being the next wave, or creeping up everything. It just, I don't know. I don't understand it. I understand it. Don't get me wrong. I totally understand why it's becoming popular, because that's what people can afford.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Cool beans.
Yeah, man.
Did you want to talk about Boba?
We're at an hour. I mean, you want to talk about Boba or Ahsoka? Which one you want to talk about?
I was kind of more prepared for Boba. But
let's do Boba.
Do you want to wrap it up?
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm not thinking right now. I'm tired.
What time is it? Let me see. What time is it?
It's 10:21.
No, we got time. I got band practice today. So I'm like, my day went from being like nothing to being full, which it's kind of fun because weekends you get tired of sitting around the house all day. So, because I've got band practice after this, and then I've got my sister-in-law's birthday after this, and then tomorrow's football. So
that's right.
Fun weekend. Football's back.
Football's back, baby.
Yeah. So how much you want to get into this Boba Fett? Are you wanting, or do you want to just debate it? Do you want to give a history of Fett? What do you want to do? What are we thinking about Boba Fett?
Yeah, the thing with Boba Fett, a lot of people think he's overrated, and there's a lot of people who think he's the greatest thing ever. And so I just wanted to have a discussion as to counterpoint. I mean, I'm kind of in the middle. I think Boba Fett's cool, but he really doesn't do anything in The Empire Strikes Back. Right. And so is he cool? Is he not cool? Like what's what?
Whew. I'm a Fett fan, but I've thought about this, and I think it's just because he's so different. That's why he's just a different character. He's a different setup. It's a different uniform. It's a different costume, that we've never seen before. And I think when he just came into the scene and he was just so mysterious is why it kind of took off. And I mean, you do realize, I don't know if people do, but that Boba Fett, when they first designed him, he was going to be the new Stormtrooper. They were going to do like Super Commandos or something.
Right.
And then they figured out the costume was too expensive. So they just did one. That's why you see the white Boba Fett, because they were going to do, could you imagine 100 white Boba Fett sitting there? So that the plan for him was a lot bigger than what it was. And, I think his armor is some of the best stuff out there. I mean, just the older I get, and I'm going to totally contradict myself. The older I get, I become less of a Boba Fett fan and more of a Mandalore fan, if that makes sense. Because I love the Mandalorians. That to me is just amazing.
Yeah.
And the more you see them come up and you see the costumes develop, and then you see Boba Fett standing there and you're like, Boba Fett looks like crap compared to the stuff that's out there now. Yeah. As far as his costume design is, because you got, I don't know, it just, I still love Boba Fett. Don't get me wrong. But like I said, the older I get, the more I become more of a Mandalore fan, because I love like Sabine, from Rebels. I love that the helmet to me just, is where it's at. And then the chest piece.
Yeah.
I love that design.
Yeah. There's an element of Spartan design in his helmet. Like if you look at the Greek Spartans, and they had that kind of design where it's a metal helmet, but then there's just like a patch between the eyes and down the face so they can talk.
Right.
And Spartans were the ultimate warriors. And I guess Mandalorians are now some sort of like the equivalent of Spartans in the Star Wars universe. They are a warrior a race. So I mean, there's some of that like badassery going on with Boba Fett. He's got that cool costume. And for the longest time, he was just a complete mystery. He was a blank slate, and you could insert your own backstory there. And I think a lot of people who had that figure and thought he had cool armor were inventing their own backstory for Boba Fett. And as you do that, you get closer because you're developing your own story. It's your story, so Boba Fett becomes your figure. And I think that works for him. But you know, Boba Fett in 1985 is not Boba Fett in 2021.
Right.
In 1985, all he did, and the only thing he did in the movies, was be smart enough to be dumped in the trash and know that Han Solo was doing that, and then tell the Empire, you know, he's at Cloud City, come get him.
Right.
And he doesn't do anything else. That's it. And then when you think about Jabba's palace, I mean, he's kind of a buffoon. Han Solo just accidentally hits his rocket pack, and then he's dead.
Right. I don't know why they did that. Why did they do that to Boba Fett? I
Probably
don't
just
know.
to wrap it up.
Yeah. And maybe because they're not thinking 30 years in the future, or, you know, or
No.
maybe they don't realize that he was that popular. But I mean, I'm glad that they're coming back with like the Mandalorian and stuff. And you know, they're able to complete, you know, you're seeing more than just Boba Fett now.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's the tip of the iceberg when it comes to all that lore that is Mandalore.
Lucas had bigger plans. Boba Fett and Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. And Daniel Logan talks about it. He was on call for all of Revenge of the Sith.
Uh-huh.
He was supposed to get his revenge for Mace Windu killing his dad. He was supposed to kill Mace Windu.
Oh, geez.
But Samuel L. Jackson said, no, I don't want to go out like that. So that's why he gets killed by the Emperor. Because Samuel L. Jackson didn't want to be killed by some punk kid.
Right. No little bitch is going to kill me.
That's probably what he wanted to say. That's probably what he said to George.
He probably
And George was like, we got to make that PG.
right.
But so, I mean, Boba Fett up to that point in Clone Wars, he becomes a little bit more focused and determined and successful.
Right.
I think Dave Filoni did Boba Fett some service there. He was like leading all these bounty hunters. He was really cool. He was working with Cad Bane and Aurra Sing, and Bosk and Dengar show up, but I can't remember if they worked with Boba Fett or not.
I think they might have, maybe, I don't know. It's
That was
been a
a cool
minute
thing.
since I've seen Clone
Yeah,
Wars.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that line of episodes. But it really wasn't until there was the books and stuff where they try to explain why Boba Fett's cool. But it really wasn't for me until the Mandalorian came along that they finally gave Boba Fett some justice and the coolness that he deserves. He's competent, he's skillful, he's determined, he's focused, he's a badass.
Yeah. Well, I think that's Roger Rodriguez getting in there and being like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm going to do it the way I want to do it.
Yeah. He's brutal. He's vicious. I can't wait for Book of Boba because hopefully they're going to have some flashbacks. Because it sounds like Book of Boba is going to be like a revenge story. Where
Right.
he's getting revenge on people.
Dude, I want to see flashbacks. I want to see him come out the Sarlacc. I want to see how Cobb Vanth ended up with his armor.
Well, we saw
revenge. Huh?
We saw how Cobb got his armor.
Right, but I want to see. Oh yeah, we did. Crap, we did see it, but it was like a 5-minute thing while they're riding on scooters. Like, hey man.
Yeah, I mean it is interesting how the Jawas got that armor and how Boba Fett lost it.
Well, then that's what I want to see.
That's what because that's kind of tricky because does he just drop the armor while he's climbing out? So how I don't know, like the Jawas didn't go into that Sarlacc pit to dig out that armor.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe he got fooled into dropping the armor or something.
Don't know.
Or maybe he traded the armor for a ride somewhere.
Oh man, I could never see him doing that though, unless he was just that desolate. Didn't have a choice.
Think about the sands of Tatooine. You're stuck out there.
Right.
Am I getting delayed?
I don't think so.
I'm wondering if Harrison's up playing video games because you're getting delayed on me. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I'm just afraid I start talking and
It's coming on video. I'm seeing it, but I'm not seeing it on audio.
All right, that's all that matters. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But think about it. Who does he have revenge against? Vendettas against?
Dude, there's a ton of stories there that they could fill in, that they have to fill in then.
Yeah. So would you start the episode as a flashback? Bosk did him wrong, and then you cut to him chasing down Bosk and killing him.
Wow. That would be insane, dude.
Like, did Bosk do something to Boba Fett's armor, his jetpack?
Mm-hmm.
And that might explain why it failed on him. It's all speculation at this point, but I'm just trying to figure out. I guess I'm a fan of Boba Fett, and I think there's reason now to be a fan of Boba Fett. I don't think he's just a sparkly looking good character, like he's got more substance than Flash now.
Right. And I think that's what this is going to do. And and he's Roger Rodriguez is talking. He's like, dude, I could say it's going to be incredible because it's going to be incredible and it's going to deliver. And, and he's like, it's 10 times better than what I'm telling you. So I'm looking forward to it. We've got 3 or 4 more months, not even that.
Not even. I mean, December's right around the corner.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm starting to plan things for December here.
Right. It's crazy how fast that comes up.
So I think Boba Fett at one point was overrated, but I think there's cause for him not to be. I think there's some justification for him being a really cool, complete character. He's more substance now.
Right. And I think they've kind of done that on purpose.
Yeah.
To bring him back. And it does, I don't know, it sucks liking a character that everybody else likes. I'd like to be able to like a character nobody liked, but
yeah,
it's just one of those things that Boba Fett's always been there, even though, he's just, what else? Because I know there's a lot of other characters like that to where they have like a 5 minute of screen time and they're everybody's favorite. But we should have done more research.
For that one, I have to think about, like, comes to mind are the Gamorrean guards, but you don't see a lot of Gamorrean guard lovers out there.
Right. Well, you do have people that go crazy over them. And I do see it, I'm making my way through the Harry Potter films right now. And it does amaze me that you have somebody show up for like one movie and there's people that are diehard fans of that person. Or you see, because
did you read the books?
No, I have not.
I've asked you that before, but yeah, I mean, some of these characters that you see in the movies go to more depth in the books.
Okay.
So that might be part of the fandom. It's not just the movies themselves. It's, they're more drawn out characters in the books.
Gotcha. Well, the books are always better than the movie.
Yeah. There's one example. I can't think of it at the top of my head. I think Fight Club comes pretty close to the book.
There's a book of Fight Club.
Yeah, and it's really it's pretty verbatim. Like they rip lines from the book for the movie, and so like I thought it was a really good translation. The ending of Fight Club, the book, is better than the ending of the movie.
Okay,
and it's worth reading just because of that ending.
Okay, well, I don't know, been a long time since I've seen.
And then they made a Fight Club 2 comic book, which I tried to read, but that just got really weird. It's a sequel. It takes place 10 years later, and Marla and the narrator have a kid, and Tyler comes back, but then all of a sudden the author of the book inserted himself into the storyline, and it's just, what? Wait, what? This is not what I wanted.
Jeez. Yeah, and going back, a lot of the reason, because the EU, I mean, there's a lot more to Boba Fett than in the 2 movies. The EU goes into it a lot more, and I think that kind of helped me be a fan of Boba Fett because there's actually stories of him and Han Solo helping each other out, and Boba Fett is just basically what are they? People that fight for money.
Gun for hire?
He's a gun for hire. So bounty hunter, starts with an M. Uh, but anyway, he's
Milkshake?
huh?
Milkshake?
Milkshake, yes. But he's a gun for hire, and whoever's paying him the most money, that's who he's gonna go with. And there's a lot, I think, in this book of Boba Fett coming up, because he does have a daughter, he has a granddaughter, there's stuff going on that I think they can bring back. But I mean, is he going to have time to do all that stuff in the 4 or 5 years? With him being on Tatooine, he probably doesn't. But and he becomes a millionaire because he's just there's stories of him, in his helmet. In one of the stories, he's like walking around and he hears something, and then he researches it. He hears some property maybe being valuable in a few years. So in his helmet, he just is like, boom, I'm going to buy all this property. So the lore of Boba Fett in the books is just it's pretty cool. And
one detail that I do like, I didn't get into a lot of those books, so I can't really talk about, daughters, granddaughters. I didn't know anything about that. If it wasn't in the Tales of Bounty Hunters, I probably didn't know about it.
Gotcha.
But in the visual dictionary, that little drop down, what do you call that thing? Is it antenna?
Yeah.
That drops down.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's got weapon locating radar.
Uh-huh.
So when Luke kind of comes around the corner in Cloud City, and he's kind of sneaky, and you see Boba Fett walk by, and you see like all the stormtroopers and Han Solo kind of like far down the hallway, kind of walking by.
Uh-huh.
Pulls out his blaster, and Boba Fett turns, and he turns probably because his radar picked up that there was a weapon over there, and that's how he knew that Luke was over there.
Damn.
That's a small detail.
Right. That's what's cool about Star Wars, is they figure that crap out, and somebody will write it and be like, I saw this in Return of the Jedi or Empire, sorry, and I'm going to go write about it. Yeah. And it's just the detail in Star Wars is pretty sick when you get into it.
So yeah, that's what I guess Boba Fett's cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. A Book of Boba, like, are they going to fold Omega in? Does he see Omega as his equal because it's another unaltered clone?
Dude, I want to see. Yeah. And I need to rewatch Bad Batch, thinking it's just a Band-Aid. It's nothing, all it is to progress the story. It's nothing to do with Bad Batch. It just progresses the story of Star Wars. It's a time killer, basically. I mean, seriously, that's the way I think that's the way you need to watch Bad Batch, and just realize that it's a totally different story, totally different storytelling, totally, and it's just filling in some holes.
I thought, sorry, you're breaking up for me. So me kind of jumping in is a little awkward because I thought you had a pause and then you're still talking.
Oh,
sorry about that.
No, it's good.
Yeah, with the Bad Batch, I just kind of expected it to be a sequel to Clone Wars, especially from the way that they set it up.
Right.
That's not the case at all. It's more of a continuation, and I just don't know if it's worth watching these characters for some reason. There's no cause to really like them other than they've kind of switched off their chip, but I guess that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, we could talk about that too. That's another topic. Let me write that down. Bad Batch sucks. No.
Mediocre
Star Wars. Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to do with Omega.
Omega.
Are they going to bring and I really wanted to see Fett in Bad Batch because I thought that would have been fun, but then there's also the mystery behind him. So anyway, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. And at some point I want to talk about that IG-88 story.
I'll have to read it then.
Yeah.
Do I need to be high?
No. No, you don't have to be high.
All right.
Let me know when you read it. I'll reread it, and then we can talk about it.
All right. And that's in Tales from the Bounty Hunters?
Tales of the Bounty Hunter.
All right. I know I got the book. So, all right. All right, Jason. I got to go. I got band practice. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, like us on Facebook, leave a comment, let us know what you think, send us an email, smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com, leave a review. If you enjoy the show, just give us your thoughts on a podcast or wherever you get your podcasts. like and subscribe our YouTube channel. We're posting shorts on YouTube and Facebook to kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about, and you can actually visualize and see us talking. And we try to make it quick. We try to make it. Glenn just gave a face. I'm not going to be using this video. It was like kind of like a Joaquin Phoenix Joker face, or Jack Nicholson Joker face. It was kind of like, whoa. And I'm completely derailed.
You're completely drained. Is that what you said?
Derailed.
Sorry.
I jumped the tracks there.
Well, it also stinks because it is. The video is getting jumpy right now.
So yeah, I guess interact with us.
Yes, please. We'll send you stickers.
Stickers and magnets.
We have stuff.
Got
Order
some
t-shirts.
mag. Buy the shirt.
Buy the shirt. Jason, have a good rest of your day, man.
You as well.
This is the way.
This is the way.